someone has come up with a title for your cookbook, and I think you're going to like this one. Listen.
Hey, Bob and Sheri, it's Laura from Kentucky. I was listening to your podcast and listening to the advertisement for Lamar's cookbook and how you don't have a title for it yet, and it hit me. I think you should call it The Sensuous Cook, after Lamar's favorite book, The Sensuous Man. Anyway, have an awesome day. Thanks for all you guys do. Love the show.
That's a good idea.
That's a good one.
I guess for dessert, I could put the recipe for the red velvet buzzsaw cake or something, I guess.
Yeah. The Sensuous Cook. Mm-hmm.
We have another one.
Go
ahead.
And Lamar, let me just say, that you are a sensuous man. You very much enjoy the pleasures of the flesh. You do. You do. Yeah. And that's what it means to be sensuous. You are a man who enjoys his pleasures. So just, think about that velvet buzzsaw cake. I think that could be a hit. Go ahead, Max.
Hey, friends. Last year I called you all and blew up your phone because I was driving by myself all the way down to Florida. Well, here I am again, driving by myself. My parents, my 80-year-old parents, have a tree down in their backyard from Milton. And so I've got a few days off of work and I'm heading down. It's crazy because the podcasts I'm listening to right now are describing the aftermath of Helene. As I'm driving down 75, I can see like every 100 yards, trees piled up on the edges of the roadway. And that's right there at the Florida-Georgia state line. So I don't know what I'm going to see when I get closer and closer down to Hillsborough County. It's okay if this doesn't make it on the radio, but I just want to tell you I appreciate y'all keeping me company again on a long, long drive. Take care.
What a good daughter. Going to Florida to help her elderly parents because of a downed tree. That's a great gal. They should be proud. It's our privilege
to keep you company. When I went to my daughter's school for family weekend, Karami goes to school right near Lamar. And as you all know, Lamar took a lot of hurricane damage. But he took it like a champ, He was like, I got a tree on everything I own. What are you going to do? Pass the butter. I like to take back roads and country roads. And if I'm going to be in the car for an hour and a half, I want to look at something pretty that isn't the interstate. And so I'm driving down all these beautiful winding roads. And it was like I hit a line, an invisible line. On one side of it, everything was fine. I crossed that line and it was trees just plowed down, and I'm talking big trees. Like there was one tree I passed that was down that was so gigantic. Its root thing was so gigantic. It had to be 8 or 9 feet in diameter. And your heart just breaks for those old trees, that have been here for so long and have seen so much. So it's our privilege to keep you company while you go down to tend to your mom and dad's place. Wow. What's your status, Lamar? Give us an update on your roof, your deck, your truck, your camper.
Well, they've cut the trees off the house, and I got both of those off, and got that done. And I got the trees off the camper, and I took the camper and waiting for the insurance company to look at it and say what they're going to do and that kind of stuff. So we're good. We're absolutely good. It's not a problem.
The Bob and Sheri website, the Oddcast, contest info, bobandsheri.com.
My mom's been going through some health stuff, so we've been zipping out to be with her on the weekends, which is it's a couple thousand miles, so it's no small thing. But
that's a tough weekend. I've done it.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, you end up on the red eye. I'm a little bit delirious today, but we're sitting, we've had dinner and my mom's having a hard time keeping food down. So I'm watching her like a hawk. Right. And we're sitting outside and it's a beautiful night in the desert. I mean, it's just amazing. And we're out on the back patio and we're chatting, and out of absolutely nowhere, my mom says, "Kevin, you do know that some men enjoy being spanked."
What?
Your mother said that?
She did. And I know you're wondering.
What did she say next? Assume the position? I mean, where was that going?
Well, I know you're wondering what led up to that. And the answer is I couldn't tell you. Like, we were just kind of like chatting, like stuff in the news and one thing or another. And then, Kevin, you do know that some men enjoy being spanked. And like I look to see what Kevin is going to, because Kevin and my mom, man, they are BFFs. He is the prince of the desert. I look over to see what reaction Kevin is going to make to that. And there's a pause. And then he goes, ma'am. Because he
That's
also
a good placeholder.
He also wanted some clarification. It was so random and so funny. And the thing is, as Kevin has said, like sometimes my mom will say something like that. And Kevin said, there's nothing I can say. There's no response that's safe for me to say. If he says, oh yeah, then it sounds like maybe he knows a little more than he should about men enjoying
with
being
her
spanked.
daughter. Yeah.
And if he says, oh, I didn't know, then the conversation continues and God only knows where it might go from there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
He has to sit there in just this mute politeness because there is nothing else to say. And it was such a classic my mom and Kevin kind of moment. It was so fun. So it was a brief trip. It was a whirlwind, but we got there and back, and we learned that some men enjoy being spanked.
I think you should have gone through the history in your mother's computer, just to see when you're not around, what's going on.
That's not a bad thought. And we talked a little bit. Somehow we got on the subject because my mom has never been on a date since my stepdad passed away. So my mom married my father when she was 17, and then she married Ted. So her experience in the dating world is kind of limited. She has no interest. Ted was her love, and she had no interest in replacing him. And of course, sometimes my mom is a very beautiful woman, and sometimes an older gentleman, at her church or whatever, will make an overture. And she's always very polite and firm. Like, I enjoy your friendship, but I'm not interested in anything more. And I don't know if it was something she saw on like Netflix or in the news feed or whatever that prompted that. But poor Kevin, he still hasn't recovered. I'm going to be real. He still has not recovered.
Does your mother watch The Golden Bachelorette?
Oh, no. My mom, it's interesting. My mom doesn't watch very much TV at all. She's like a Gen Z
I know
kid.
what she's looking at based on the Kevin thing there. I know. That's how
she gets her news. Like, she gets her news from the news feed. She doesn't do any social media. She gets the news on her phone. My mom reads like 4 books a week. She is a big reader and always has been. The TV doesn't even like come on. Kevin wanted to watch some football game on Saturday, and my mom was like, well, honey, there's the remote. See what you can figure out.
Figure it out, yeah.
Bob and Sheri books, swag, and the mother of all mothers merch. Just hit shop at bobandsheri.com.
So Mary knew that I was going to be away for a couple of days, and she decided that she would have a mystery horror party with her girlfriends. And she's got about 10 of them that she does different things with, like book club, and she'll take them out on the boat once in a while and all. And everybody had to get dressed up, in like a spooky sort of costume. And she sent away online for this scary party stuff. And so skeleton heads arrived, plastic skeleton heads, and crime scene tape that she put around the front door of the house, and stickers that looked like, blood on the windows and all of this stuff. And you had to guess, like they do with these mystery parties. You had to guess who did it, and there were clues, and there were games, and there was a lot of mixing of the murder mystery and horror. All right. There was just like scary looking things in the corner that she put, and scary drinks look like blood and all of this. Everybody's having a good time. She's got the music wound up. And so the party was a nice night, evidently. The party moved to the deck. And so it's looking out in the backyard, and it's not quite dark yet. She started it like around 6:00, and the ladies are out there and they're throwing down drinks and everything. All of a sudden, one of them says, "Oh my God, look at that over there in the corner of the yard." We have a lot of wildlife where I live, all sorts of wildlife, a lot of birds. Look what's going on over there. A crane. They come through my backyard all the time. I'm talking about a crane that's about up to your chest. All right.
Wow.
Big crane walking along through the backyard, walking along. And Mary's used to seeing that. And, the women where we live, they're used to seeing that. But all of a sudden, this crane found a copperhead. And slowly, in front of all of the women, swallowed the entire snake.
Wow. Man,
and
you don't see
how
that
do I know
every
that
day.
this is real?
No.
She got it on video. I couldn't look at it. As soon as I saw what was going on, I just turned it right off. It was so disgusting. The ladies at this point are shrieking, "Oh my God! The thing is eating the whole snake." And one of them knew copperheads. That's a copperhead. The crane is eating a copperhead. And they're yelling. And one of them yelled, "Mary, did you arrange for this? Did you set this up? You're very good with parties." And she's going, "No, I didn't. We have a neighbor in the back. She's not a busybody, but she likes the neighborhood quiet. She called the cops on the party. Because when she heard the lady shrieking, she decided the local cops show up and they start walking through the house and they see the crime scene tape. Well, a couple of the ladies had a couple of shots. And they take a look at these two cops that are in my house at that point. And one of them says, "I'm not calming down, Barney Fife." Oh, my God.
Oh, no, she did not. No.
Yes, she did. Cops not liking this at all. And Mary takes the Barney Fife one aside and says, "You got to calm down." And she said, "I'm not calming down." And Mary said, I'm not going to say her name. Let's say her name was Gail. And it wasn't Gail. "You're going to have to go home, Gail, right now." Because the cops were not leaving. The cops wanted to know exactly what happened. And finally, they figured it out. It was a neighbor that calls the police all the time with anything at all. And it was only by this time, it's only 7:30 at night. So this is not, hell raising at midnight or something like that. So the police officers, figure out what's going on. They see the video of the crane eating the copperhead whole, and they leave. I'm glad I wasn't there. I'm glad I was. I think it was best. There was nothing good for me there at all.
There's nothing about this occasion that says Bob Lacey to me. Like there's nothing here for you.
Instant access to the podcast, fun size, and more with the free Bob and Sheri app.
Bob, I was on Instagram last night and Landon had posted some pictures and videos of Christian's birthday party. And that child needs to be working for the Gap as a model. He's the most beautiful child.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it looked like it was really a hoot and you looked so happy and you haven't told us anything about it.
Well, I had a great time. She just throws a great birthday party. There were these little pumpkins. There were, I'm going to say there were probably 25 kids there and their moms and dads. And the kids were painting the pumpkins. One of her neighbors owns a bounce house. And so she set that up in the backyard for Landon and the kids. Balloons everywhere, cake everywhere. It was great. Finn was there. Everybody had a great time. Now, there were a couple of things that were difficult. I arrived early, and I had picked out as a gift for Christian, he's 5 years old. They have a website where you can go, and if it's Christmas time or birthday time, you can pick out one of the gifts there, that they're supposed to love them, and other people would buy the other one, so don't buy that. I bought him a 5-year-old's golf set, and I was so pleased to have that. Had it delivered to their house, and it's got the woods, it's got a putter, it's the whole thing. And obviously they're very small. And I got him a hat, a golf hat too, and I was very excited. So before the kids got there, I said, "Would you like to open up a couple of gifts?" And he went, "Yes, yes." And he opened up the golf clubs, and he looked at it, and he said, "I don't like this. Can you take it home? Can you take it home?" I went, "Why? Why?" "Because your dad goes to the driving range once in a while, and I thought you could bring it when you come and stay with me, and I could go to the driving." He said, "I just don't like it." And so I had to suck that up and just say, because he's a rough and tumble kid. It's not like he doesn't like sports. He plays soccer. I just had to say he saw it, he didn't understand, and he didn't think he could do it, and it made him sad. So I had to put that away, and then I had to pull myself together and say, "Okay, this is his birthday. You're his grandfather. You got to get something positive going here." So I said, "Hey, I understand you got a bunch of new books up in your room." He said, "I do." And we went up, and he had a book on the Paw Patrol. And we spent 45 minutes reading Paw Patrol, and he was explaining all of the characters, and everything was fine. But it was just weird with the golf clubs. Maybe he'll come around, if his dad takes him out, but it was something I didn't expect. I also
I'm so surprised. Yeah,
I
I'm
know,
surprised too.
I know. It was great. Everybody had a good time. He's, jumping all over me. He's playing with Finn. We had a great time, and he's a great kid. You know what I realized? Landon lives in a neighborhood where there are a bunch of young families her age and her husband Ramsey's age, and they're all having kids. And if one of them has a birthday, there's 16 couples. If one of them is having a birthday, you have to show up because they're going to show up for your kid's birthday.
Right.
And if there's 16 couples, that's 16 Saturdays. And it's husbands and wives.
Yes.
That's almost a third of Saturdays year round. And they, because of their situation, living in that kind of a neighborhood with all these young people just starting out in life, it's just about every third weekend, it's a birthday party. And I'm just going to be honest. I'm exhausted from that one. If I had to do it again in 2 weeks, I don't know what I'd do.